Throughout the history of Sonic, there has been many different metal versions of our boy, and I wanted to go over them. So today we're going to go over the many metals of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, as with everything, I may forget a couple. So if I do end up forgetting, maybe one or two versions of Sonic that I've, maybe slipped through the cracks, just let me know. You don't have to yell about it. Say, well, actually, this list isn't complete because if you look at issue 45 of I Don't Care, just put it in the comments. Don't make a big deal. Just politely, kindly say, hey, you forgot this and this, and we'll be good. So, let's start off with the number one boy. He is the number one metal version of Sonic, the true metal Sonic. It's Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic, who was introduced in Sonic CD, as Naoto Oshima wanted to introduce a brand new rival for Sonic, so Kazuyuki Hoshino had a clear idea in his head when he was briefed. One of those keywords for the new rival was for him to be menacing, and the design for Metal Sonic flowed with that concept. Things did not have to be perfect, they just have to have meaning behind the design. His glowing red eyes was one of the things that was decided upon the team that would give him a deadly intimidating look, and his jet engines gave him the speed to match and rival Sonic. And the glossy, reflective finish with the CGI trends made Metal Sonic feel like a true nemesis and rival to Sonic who could be advertised on box work with him. Despite being built to match Sonic the Hedgehog in all aspects, Metal Sonic is the opposite of our guy. Rather than Sonic, who has the fun-living, adventurous, carefree attitude, Metal is cold, dark, aggressive, and sometimes emotional, though that can change, of course. Now, Metal Sonic is, he's the guy, right? He is the metal version of Sonic. He has so much potential, and they have done great things with him. I think the idea that eventually he rose and became the bad guy of a game in Sonic Heroes is really cool. Now they tried to do it again in Sonic Free Riders, but we don't talk about Free Riders, shush. But I like the idea that he just grew autonomous in Heroes and eventually became a hero, and he is so, I guess, warped in his way of thinking that he is the true version of Sonic, and that this organic Sonic, that's the copy. You're the copy. I'm the true version of Sonic because I can't die from old age, right? I'm made of metal. I'm a machine. I don't deal with things like these emotions that you deal with. I like that idea. He's convinced he is the true Sonic, and he's gonna prove it. And he can match Sonic in terms of speed, in terms of strength. He is in a way, a dark reflection of Sonic, but not really, because we've had dark reflections of Sonic in other characters. But because Metal he doesn't act like Sonic. He is more cold and emotionless as a robot. And it's really, I like the idea that Eggman made a metal version of Sonic, because if he couldn't have Sonic, right? I'll just make a metal version of you to do my bidding. It's a bit of, I like to think of it as it's a little bit of like Eggman trying to screw with Sonic, that I've made a version of you, a robot in your image, that's going to cause chaos and havoc around the world. I do like that. I think that's a pretty cool bad guy thing to do. Metal is great. How he's portrayed, usually people get the right idea that he should be menacing and, cold and very life-threatening in a way, I think is what I'm trying to say. Like, when you see Metal, you go like, oh damn, right? Now that does change also depending on what era we're in. When we're in the classic Sonic era, Metal's a bit more comedic, but in the modern era, I think they've gotten him pretty okay in the modern era with how he's portrayed. But yeah, I think Metal Sonic is great. He's a fantastic metal version of Sonic, and he's the one who kind of started this whole trend. Well, not really, he didn't start the trend. We'll get to the person who started the trend. But Metal is the one that really kickstarted the whole, ooh, we can have a metal version of Sonic around, He really kickstarted that. So thank you for that, Metal, but sometimes, as we will see here, it may get a bit overzealous. They may go a bit too far in how many metal versions of Sonic we get. So Metal has actually different versions of him. There is Metal Sonic 2.0 and 3.0, which are costumes and rivals. You should pay attention to Metal Sonic 3.0, but we'll get back to him. We have 3 versions of Metal here that were cancelled. So these were versions of Metal that were all supposed to appear in Sonic X-treme, the cancelled game for the Sega Saturn. So we have Metal Sonic Mark III, Metal Sonic Mark IV, and Metal Sonic Mark V. These are... What the fuck? Okay, so in Sonic X-treme, Metal was gonna appear 3 different times, and he was gonna be upgraded. I don't know if they were gonna say that this is like the OG Metal, or if they're gonna say these is a different robots. Or I don't know. From the wiki, it says it is Metal Sonic, and this is an upgrade. So Mark III is all red. He's got drills for hands. Okay, you know, I'm like, Mark IV. What the fuck am I looking at? He's got like spiky legs. His face is like complete. He's got like no like any semblance of a face really there. It's like a face plate. I mean, this is the one I think that looks most like Metal so far. And then we go to number 5. And number 5, he's just like a little ball. He's like a tiny shark. Yeah, maybe it's a good thing Sonic X-treme was canceled. You know, it's a good idea. And then there's of course Metal Sonic Kai, which showed up. Debuted in Knuckles Chaotix, which is Metal Sonic, super big and tall, and he's red. Urgh. So he's there. And that is Metal. And then we move on to Mecha Sonic. So Mecha Sonic's creator Yasushi Yamaguchi stated that Mecha Sonic was written as Dr. Eggman's first combat unit to counter only Sonic, unlike the other Badniks which were created out of ambition. The robot used imagery from Mechagodzilla and Gigan for its design, making it appear strong and powerful. The robot was intended to have many attacks during development, but time constraints resulted in several of its abilities getting unimplemented. These included a laser shot from its eye, homing missiles from all 10 fingers, and a super gravity smash move where its chest plate would open and fire a gravity bullet that would eventually disappear but would draw rings in if the player was too close to it. Well, that wouldn't have worked because you don't get any goddamn rings when you fight Mecha Sonic. Early on in development, Tails was intended to be trapped inside the robot, but this was too difficult to work into the story, so it was scrapped. That's a cool idea. Tails is forced into a Badnik, and then you have to fight him to free him. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Mecha Sonic is the first idea of like a robot Sonic, and I think he's kind of what really kickstarted this whole idea. I think Mecha Sonic's just kind of okay. Like, this is Mecha Sonic Mark 1. He's all right. I don't think too much of him because he is really only just in this one game, and that's kind of his boss fight's kind of annoying. But I fought him so many times in Sonic 2. I feel like I know his fight from the back of my hand. Then we have Mecha Sonic Mark 1 in his 8-bit form, which is different. And he was also called Silver Sonic. So there is, well, he's not also called Silver Sonic. There is Silver Sonic, which is Mecha Sonic in the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 8-bit, was one of the 5 master robots that Eggman sent to eliminate Sonic the Hedgehog, while Eggman held Tails captive. Mecha Sonic encountered Sonic in the Scrambled Egg Zone. After a battle between the Hedgehog and his robot duplicate, the machine was destroyed, revealing a Chaos Emerald inside, which had been included inside all along. If you take a look at how he looks fucking... What the hell am I looking at? This was the thing that Eggman decided was gonna stop Sonic. Alright, so he's also been called, this 8-bit version of Mecha Sonic has also been called Silver Sonic, and then Silver Sonic showed up again in Sonic Mania for a boss fight. And he's referred to as Silver Sonic there, but he's like just Silver Sonic little bots that come and screw your day up. Yeah, he's a little dude, huh? Little dude. Then we have Mecha Sonic Mark II. This is the Mecha Sonic that I think everyone pretty much knows, which is from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So Mecha Sonic Mark II was built in Sonic's image. Mecha Sonic, yeah, he's a bit more lankier than Metal. Much more lankier, much more taller. There's not much known about his development, which is very weird. I wonder if it's just as simple as let's make another Sonic robot. Let's make him like Metal, but lankier, you know? I think that it would have been easier to just use Metal, but okay. But yeah, Mecha Sonic Mark II, he has one of the worst boss fights in the Knuckles portion. That fight took me a while, I'll admit. But once you get the pattern, once you get a pattern going, it's not that bad. Yeah, I like Mecha Sonic. I don't think too much of him, right? Like, I don't think, like, I know a lot of people adore Mecha Sonic, and that's mainly because of Sonic fan animations, that this guy has really shot up in people. As someone who hasn't really seen those, my opinion of Mecha Sonic is just, he's okay. He's just a robot to me. That's what he is. He was good in Scrapnik Island, though, I will admit. Very good in Scrapnik Island. Then we have Silver Sonic Mark II. So, Silver Sonic Mark II is the robot you see in Sonic Adventure when you go into Eggman's base. You can see Metal Sonic in a tube, and you can see this robot, which has been dubbed Silver Sonic Mark II, which never actually got used. He was just there. But Archie did end up using this robot. So prior to the summoning of Chaos, Eggman began working on 2 robotic duplicates, which was Metal Sonic, and this one, which was Silver Sonic Mark II. However, before he used them, Eggman then unleashed the E102, the E100 series. Then after, when Chaos was defeated, Eggman wanted revenge, so he unleashed Silver Sonic 2 to get the job. Silver Sonic 2 was released from its cryo tube and unleashed against a vulnerable Station Square, where it caught the Freedom Fighters off guard during a farewell celebration. Despite being attacked by the combined efforts of all the Freedom Fighters like Big, Tails, Amy, Sally, Silver Sonic easily dispatched with all of them. But when Sonic entered the fight, well, things got pretty good. In the end, Sonic won by causing Silver Sonic to blow apart its leg. So, you know, good for him. Then Sonic then decapitated this guy with a spin dash. Straight up decapitated this man. I'm done with you. So what they did with Silver Sonic Mark II was also pretty cool, because they also had to explain in the Archie lore why they would never come back to Station Square, or how would this place be protected and all that. So what they did is they had Silver Sonic Mark II get repaired and repurposed to be now the protector of Station Square. So that's where Silver Sonic Mark II was. He was protecting Station Square, which was like an underground city in Archie lore. And yeah, that's why we don't go to Station Square anymore, because it's safe by Silver Sonic Mark II. Until Silver Sonic Mark II does die, because Shadow showed up and killed him. So there was that. But I like the idea of Silver Sonic Mark II. He's just like a robot that, like, you never got to use this guy. So I soaked up all I could from the Archie issue. That, like, at least they used him. It was one issue, but at least they used him. Then we have Mecha Sonic. So this is Sonic from the Mecha Madness story from Archie Sonic, which is much different than the Mecha Sonic in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. This Mecha Sonic is Sonic, but roboticized. This is a roboticized version of Sonic. So Sonic wanted to be roboticized with a Neuro Overrider device to increase his ability to fight Eggman, but all his allies, like all the Freedom Fighters, like, no, dude, we are not doing that. So Sonic went to go work out at a gym, vent his frustrations, but he was ambushed by Fang, who at this point was called Knack the Weasel. Fang brought him to Robotnik. Robotnik roboticized Sonic and turned him into Mecha Sonic, his roboticized servant. So then he sent Mecha Sonic, go out and attack your friends, and that is what Mecha Sonic did. Now he just laid waste to them all, and the only way they could beat him was they had to have a robot themselves. So Knuckles roboticized himself with that Neuro Overrider, so he had his free will intact, and he and Mecha Sonic went into a big fight, hence the name Mecha Madness. In the end, Mecha Knuckles did win. He was, Mecha Sonic was left damaged, near death, and his persona, like his actual personality, started to break through. And he was so guilty, he felt so guilty, he wanted to die. Sonic told his friends, let me die because of what I've done. Sally was not going to let that happen, and they restored him back to Amobian. This had some after effects in the comics after, with Sonic. I will not get into that here, though. That's for like a full-on Archie lore video. But I loved this idea for Mecha Sonic. He got roboticized and turned against his friends. Mecha Sonic. I love it. I love that idea of, like, the heroes getting corrupted. It's not like, I like it for like a short story, right? Like a hero gets corrupted, goes against their friends, and the friends either have to take him down or he fights through the corruption to break free. And he will, of course, feel some guilt, but his friends are like, it wasn't you, dude. Like, don't feel bad. I like that. Especially if it's like it has an ending, Mecha Sally, when it has an ending and I can figure out how this ends, I like it. But yeah, Mecha Sonic was a cool idea in Archie to just be like, let's just make him roboticize Sonic, and they made him pretty cool. Like he has like some gold to him too, really cool. Then there is Cyborg Sonic. So this was Sonic from an alternate reality. In his world, Dr. Robotnik tried to turn all the freedom fighters into cyborgs. However, their partial roboticization only made them stronger. Cybersonic led them into Robotropolis for one last confrontation, but the Doctor turned the tables and completely roboticized himself. All of the freedom fighters were killed by Robo Robotnik, Robo Robotnik is a very big thing in Archie. I will not get into this here though. Cyborg Sonic left his Earth and went to seek help from another Sonic, which ended up being our Sonic, Archie Sonic, on Mobius Prime. Realizing the threat that Robo Robotnik posed in the multiverse, Cyborg Sonic gathered an army of different alternate Sonics to combat the foe, and they ended up defeating Robo Robotnik, and then Cyborg Sonic went back to his world. Cyber Sonic is whatever. He's got like a nice design, I suppose. He's got like a leather jacket. He's got like half cyborg version of himself, right? He's cool, whatever. Whatever. I don't think too much about him. A robot who I do think much about is Shard, baby. Shard, the Metal Sonic. So in Archie, as you can see, they use the Metal Sonic 3.0 design for Shard, which is a nice way to implement that into the comic book. So Shard is the original Metal Sonic, the one who is in the events of Sonic CD and the early issues of Archie. This is Shard. Shard is that original Sonic. So after the events of Sonic Adventure, Metal Sonic ambushed Sonic in the woods with Tails kidnapped and held hostage at a volcano. Sonic went to save his friend, but Metal Sonic, was kept like, hey, where are you going? And in Archie, it should be noted that Metal Sonic at the beginning talked. He had a personality. He talked like Sonic. So they really were going with that he's just a robot Sonic thing at this point. Sonic was able to trap Metal Sonic in his own net and get to Tails before the volcano erupted. The robot-like duplicate easily got out and attacked both Sonic and Tails atop the mountain. Sonic tried to tell Metal Sonic about how there's more to life than just power. When Tails decided to stick with Sonic, even though there was lava anywhere, Metal Sonic then developed a conscience and decided to hold back the lava and allowed the two to escape. Tails' actions allowed Metal Sonic to see he could be more than his programming, and as his two foes escaped, Metal Sonic was submerged in lava, seemingly meeting his own demise. So this is very much like the OVA death, right? He gets submerged in lava and dies, kind of doing the whole there is only one Sonic thing. I don't know if this issue was inspired by that from the OVA or if it's just a coincidence, but it is kind of like an OVA death. So then after this, Metal Sonic did come back, but this is now a different Metal, right? So Metal Sonic's core programming and mind, which was part of a Power Gem's crystalline matrix, survived being submerged in lava and was recovered by Geoffrey St. John and the Royal Secret Service shortly after Metal Sonic's attack on Sonic and Tails. Geoffrey and his team were sent to investigate the site, and Geoffrey intended on stealing the Power Gem for New Metropolis before Eggman could use it. The gem was given to Sir Charles the Hedgehog, who is Uncle Chuck, and Charles used Metal Sonic's core data to construct the Metal Sonic Troopers, who are an army of Metal Sonics. Again, I'm not going into this. Metal Sonic was later fully reconstructed and rebuilt by Charles, using parts from the previous Metal Sonic robots, the Metal Sonic Troopers, and Metal Scourge. Yes, there's a Metal Scourge. Another factor counting towards developing his own personality. He was given the name Shard and was another member of Harvey Who's newly formed Secret Freedom Fighters. The Secret Freedom Fighters were the freedom fighters who did the covert ops secret missions that no one can know about. Think of it like Young Justice from the Young Justice show. The Justice League is the public persona of the superheroes, right? Like they're the ones that they want everyone to know about, while the team did the more covert ops on the down low missions that no one knew about. That's kind of what the Secret Freedom Fighters were. So this gave Shard a new chance of life and a chance to prove himself as a hero. While Charles was reluctant to build Metal Sonic robot Shard assured Charles that he had learned that there was more to life. He and the other Secret Freedom Fighters helped the Team Freedom defeat Team Metal in the invasion of New Metropolis. Shard's death is so fucking good. I mean, I hate it because he's such a good character and I really liked him. And I'm like, damn, he never came back. Like, that's such a damn shame that they never rebuilt him because, you know, his fight with Metal is awesome, and it's like a double Sudoku at the end, right? Like they both blow up, and Metal Sonic is rebuilt, right? But Shard is just kept dead, which I'm like, why? Why would you do that to my boy? Also, ship him with Nicole. He and Nicole, that's the true Nicole ship right there. Him and Nicole. Now we move on to Sonic Man. No, not that Sonic Man. This guy was seen in Archie's Worlds Unite crossover event. Sonic Man is when Sonic was turned into a robot by Dr. Wily and Eggman becoming part of the roboticized Masters. He was sent to attack the Light Robot Masters and was restored to his Mobian self when the worlds began to merge. So he's not there super long. He's there for like a couple of issues, like maybe 3, I think. And he's just Sonic been roboticized to be a Master. And then they bring him back when the worlds start to merge. So there he is. Pretty cool looking design though, with the W on like his the WM on like his front. I think that's pretty cool. Then we have the X Robots. So this was seen in Archie's Sonic X series. This is the comic book to Sonic X. This X Robot was created by Tracy Yardley. Tracy Yardley was noted that the original idea behind the character may have come from the editor of the series, Mike Pellerito. Yardley originally planned for this robot to have a design reminiscent of Emerald, but that was scrapped in favor of a design with more inspiration from Metal Sonic himself. The white colorization of the X Robot was an intentional choice made so that the robot would have a neutral color in comparison to the characters it was copying, while the red highlights denoted aspects of the robot which had been copied from the main cast. The joints of the robot and usage of the heavy black lines were inspired by robots from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Despite his work on the design, Tracy Yardley could not decide on a name for the robot, though he did consider the name Spectre, but dropped it because he felt it didn't fit. He considered holding a contest to name the robot. That never happened. He eventually decided to just call it the X Robot on his DeviantArt page, where you can find like the picture of this. The X Robot was created by Eggman to be used against Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles. To crush them once and for all, it was designed to mimic Sonic and his friends' abilities and skills, know their strengths and weaknesses for maximum strength, but in order to do that, it needed data. Therefore, when Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Amy appeared on a television show, Station Square Today, to demonstrate their abilities, Eggman took over the TV station and recorded Sonic and his friends as they ran through an obstacle course, and he downloaded the data into the X Robot. Once the X Robot was ready, Eggman sent him to destroy the heroes. The X Robot was able to overwhelm them one by one, but once the heroes realized that its weakness, which it could not counter unpredictable moves, well, they had it in the bag. So that was the X Robot. He's a cool design, I think. I think he's got a pretty cool idea. He is doing, though, the whole, robots just gonna copy abilities thing, which I feel like is done to death, and that is, again, what Metal Sonic does, the copy ability, he has that, the copy the data thing. It's like, I mean, he's a cool design, but I'm like, he's not really an original idea for what he did. We have Badnik Sonic. So Badnik Sonic was created by Robotnik to frame Sonic. Robotnik sent the Badnik Sonic to destroy Star Posts in an attempt to protect his new base in the Special Zone, in the process implicating Sonic of vandalism. When 2 Emerald Hill residents of Rough and Stripes caught the Badnik Sonic in the act, Robotnik sent Badnik to rough them up. And capture them. When Sonic came with Tails to investigate who was sullying his good name, Badnik Sonic attacked them both. It seemed to overpower Sonic at first, apparently concussing Sonic when they collided head-on. Just as Sonic was about to retaliate, the Hedgehog collided with Tails, who was attempting to rescue him, and they ended up entangled on the ground. Because of this, Badnik Sonic was able to pull Sonic inside him and install him as his organic battery. However, Sonic's mind was able to resist the Badnik's control, allowing him to take over the powerful metal form. After deceiving Robotnik into revealing his reasons for collecting the Star Post, Sonic turned on the inventor, grabbed onto his mustache, and lifted him off the ground, threatening to perform a supersonic spin while removing his mustache. Sonic demanded that Robotnik release his captives. Robotnik used a remote to destroy the Badniks that were present, including Badnik Sonic. Robotnik fled, with Badnik Sonic's metal hand still holding onto his mustache. So there's Badnik Sonic. Cool idea. It's kind of the same idea of like Mecha Sonic. Let's make a Badnik Sonic and use him as my power source. It's it's a simple idea for this era of Sonic we were in, right? It's a very like simple idea for this era. Then we have the Metallics. Oh boy. So Sonic the comic writer Nigel Kitching's original name for the character was Metallico. Metallics was editor Richard Burton's suggestion. The Metallics were based off of the Daleks from Doctor Who, in particular their habit of demanding Sonic's extermination. And the existence of a red and gold Emperor Metallics are both highly reminiscent of the Daleks. They are. Writer Nigel Kitching has admitted that yes, that there is a similarity. He said, "Well, I didn't intend to rip off the Daleks." He's like, it's just like there's such a similarity there. And Doctor Who was off the air at this time, but he's like, yeah, no, there's a similarity there. Especially whenever you have a robot say exterminate, you're gonna get a Dalek comparison. So Operation Metallics was created by Robotnik and his chief scientist Grimer, who is his like sidekick in the Fleetway comics, as a means to destroy Sonic once and for all. The new robot was thoroughly tested, obliterating practice robots resembling Sonic before his first public appearance, which was attacking Emerald Hill Zone. Robotnik converted his old Egg Fortress base into a Metallics factory, intending to leave the robots there to create the ultimate Metal Sonic. As a safety precaution, he built in a self-destruct program into their design. The Metallics secretly went rogue, calling themselves the Brotherhood, and built an Emperor Metallics as they plotted to conquer Mobius themselves. They intended to capture the Omni Viewer to achieve this, and paid Chaotix crew member Knack the Weasel to help them. Thanks to Knack's assistance, the Brotherhood captured the Omni Viewer. With Knuckles' help, the Chaotix were able to get into the fortress and barely survived being slaughtered by a single Metallics. While the Brotherhood made it clear they intended to kill Knack as well, the Turncoat brought out a neural disruptor cannon, which Knuckles used to seemingly deactivate the whole army. However, this turned out to have been anticipated by the Brotherhood, and they had a backup system that reactivated them when the heroes were gone. I am ending this here about the Brotherhood because if I get into the Brotherhood and the Metallics, we will be here for quite a long time, and that is a video all on its own. But yeah, the Metal Sonic and the Fleetway was a Metallics. And then that evolved to be the Brotherhood of Metallics with an Emperor Metallics, and it just became its own thing, and we're going to move on before I get stuck here. So now we can move on to some ones from TV. So we have Pseudo Sonic from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Dr. Robotnik created Pseudo Sonic to tarnish Sonic's good name and forced his unwilling lab rat Lawrence to use it. However, Scratch and Grounder mistook the mech for the real Sonic and tried to fight it, only to be defeated, because that's Scratch and Grounder for you. Afterwards, Robotnik sent Pseudo Sonic out to do several acts of hooliganism and vandalism. So this is pretty much Robotnik Sonic, as you can see the similarities here. However, the real Sonic eventually appeared and tried to fight the robot, only for the duo to end up in Poisoned Flower Valley, where Lawrence told Sonic of what had happened and how Robotnik had threatened him to obey. Tails soon took the duo, along with Pseudo Sonic, to a tent so they could be treated for their poison flower hives. When Sonic and Lawrence later fell asleep while waiting for the hives to go away, Tails secretly used Pseudo Sonic in order to attack Robotnik in his fortress and save Sonic's reputation. However, when Pseudo Sonic got caught, Tails bailed on the mech. Scratch and Grounder later mistook Pseudo Sonic again for the real Sonic, and they used a surface-to-Sonic missile to destroy it, and that was Pseudo Sonic for you. The Pseudo Sonic did show up in Archie. There is a version of it. He used Pseudo Sonic to kind of like try and find the location to Knothole. So like he had Antoine think Pseudo Sonic was the real Sonic and be like, oh my god. And he's like, hey, yo, Anton, where's the Knothole entrance again? You know, man, like, where is it again, buddy? You know, my memory's going off, you know, that type of thing. Before Pseudo Sonic could tell Robotnik the coordinates, he was blown apart by Tails, who electrocuted him. They threw Pseudo Sonic then in the garbage. Okay, thanks, guys. Then there is the Cyborg Sonic. This one's the one from Sonic Boom. This is the robot from Sonic Boom. So Cyborg Sonic was created at the same time as the rest of Team Cybonic. by bolts from DNA donated by Sonic. His purpose was to help Team Sonic take back Morristown when Hypnobot and Dr. Eggman invaded it with their hypnotized bots, and was designed with an organic brain so Hypnobot could not infect him. After getting introduced to Team Sonic, Cyborg Sonic and his team entered Morristown from the bunker of their birth, with Hypnosonic unable to control them. Cyborg Sonic and his counterparts helped Morristown defeat the invading robots and sent them packing. Cyborg Sonic and his team then decided to remain in Morristown, which was renamed Roboken, and they will be now the city's defenders. They did come back. Eggman ended up giving them mind control bracelets, and he used them to be his team in a soccer match. What can I say? This was Sonic Boom. What the fuck did you expect? This was the episode where you had the Knuckles feminist line. Like, what the fuck did you expect? They did come back one more time. When Eggman went to Roboken again, because he was just there on vacation with his family. He was just there on vacation, man. So Cyborg Sonic's like, alright, man, we'll let you be for this one. Yeah, Cyborg Sonic, he's an interesting thing. He's just like literally just a Metal Sonic, but acts exactly the same. He's got a cool design though. I do like the glowing eyes and all that. Yeah, pretty cool. Then we have Chaos Sonic from Sonic Boom. So not Sonic Boom, this is from Sonic Prime. Chaos Sonic was created by the Chaos Council, more specifically by Mr. Dr. Eggman, to attack Sonic. I hate this guy so much. He's so fucking annoying. He's a reason why I don't like Sonic Boom as well. Sonic Prime is because Sonic sees him and goes, "Whoa, I've never fought a robot duplicate of mine before." Buddy, what the fuck? You've been fighting Metal Sonic every other Saturday. Yeah, Chaos Sonic's annoying though. He constantly talks and talks and talks. It's not endearing at all. It's not like he's saying anything funny. He's just grating and makes you want to rip your ears off. I hate this guy so much. He's like probably one of my least. Is he my least favorite fucking Metal Sonic on here? He might be. He might be. And then there is Sonic. So Sonic Sonic is from not a comic. He's from a book, a choose your own adventure book. Yes, you heard me right. There are choose your own adventure Sonic books. So Sonic was created by Dr. Eggman to create various acts and frame Sonic. Are you finding a pattern here from Eggman creating robots to frame Sonic? Now, despite his appearance, Sonic isn't actually a robot. He was created using a blue goo-like substance meant for creating clones of the real Sonic, but he looks like a robot, so I'm putting him on here. Tails runs into Sonic when he sees him hanging out by their secret cave. Anytime the fox touched the robot, it burned him. Sonic tied Tails up and left him at the chemical plant. There he got into a conversation with a grabber, little badnik. Sonic and Tails overhear Sonic's conversation, and when it's over, Sonic kills the grabber he was conversing with. That's the fucking evil shit I like. Sonic attacks him, but Sonic easily dodges and runs off. Sonic sped off to Mystic Cave looking for a Chaos Emerald. Sonic and Tails arrived too late to stop him, but they used a stink bomb to steal the emerald from him. And that's it. See ya, fucker. Good luck smelling like a skunk for the rest of your life. Yeah, weird little dude Sonic is. And that is the medals I got here. These are all the medals I have here for Sonic. Interesting bunch. It's a very interesting bunch. There's some good, there's some very bad, and some that I'm just like, eh. I feel like we have way too many of these, though. I feel like there's way too many metal versions of Sonic. A lot of these things could have just been Metal Sonic, really, at the end of the day. And some of them are just, like, their version of Metal. Like, Metallix is just that version of Metal Sonic, right? But I felt like he earned his own separate inclusion. And a lot of these are very similar, right? Like Sonic, Badnik Sonic, Pseudo Sonic, they're like the same fucking thing at the end of the day. And either like they're not remarkable enough to really be their standout, like the X-Robot. He's just like your standard copy ability robot. Like, not all of them really, I think, need to exist, and I think there's way too many metal versions of Sonic out here, and we really need to cut the trim. I'm glad that some of these are probably never coming back, but the fact that even existed in the first place is like, okay, guys, like, calm down. If we're gonna go off the best ones, Metal Sonic easily, of course, is he's the metal robot. Other ones I did like, I think the Archie Mecha is awesome. I think he's better than Badnik Sonic. Archie Mecha is really cool as, like, you know, the evil roboticized Sonic. I think he's pretty cool. The Cyborg Sonic from Boom is okay. I mainly like his design a bit. I think his design is what sells me on him, you know? But I think those are, like, pretty much those are the robots from this that I'm like, yeah, you're cool. All the other ones are either, like, you don't need to exist, you really don't need to exist, or you're whatever, you know? Silver Sonic Mark II, though, is another one I will prop up. Mainly because they didn't get to use him a lot. But yeah, Silver Sonic Mark II is another one I really like. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Let me know what your favorite Metal Sonic you have seen today is. And I'll see you guys all next time. Take care.